My boyfriend had one rule from the very beginning of our relationship. We eat dinner together at the table every night with our phones in the other room. That was it. That was the rule he told me about maybe 3 weeks into dating, and I remember thinking it was a little intense for someone I barely knew yet. I asked him if he was one of those people with a million rigid rules, and he laughed and said no, just this one. It was the only thing he was serious about. I figured I'd humor him. I didn't realize at the time that it was the most important thing he'd ever tell me about himself. At first, I honestly thought it was kind of inconvenient. I'm a scroll-through dinner person, or I used to be. I'd eat with the TV on, phone in hand, half paying attention to whoever I was with. So the first few times we did his table thing, I kept reaching for a phone that wasn't there, this phantom itch. But he'd just sit across from me and ask about my day, actually ask, and wait for the whole answer. And slowly I got used to it. Dinner became this little pocket of the day where the rest of the world wasn't allowed in. I started looking forward to it more than I expected. I noticed things about him at that table I might have missed otherwise. The way he always asked the follow-up question, not just how was your day, but what happened after that. The way he put his fork down when I was talking, like whatever I was saying deserved his whole attention. I dated people who could sit next to me for an entire evening and not actually see me once. He saw me every single night, on purpose, and I hadn't realized how starved I'd been for that until it was right in front of me. Then, a few months in, we had our first real fight. It was over something genuinely stupid. I think I'd made plans without checking with him, and it spiraled the way first fights do into a bunch of other stuff that had nothing to do with the plans. We were both tired and saying things a little too sharp, and right in the middle of it, the timer for dinner went off. I figured we'd obviously skip the table that night. I was too annoyed to sit across from him and play happy couple. I told him I'd just eat in my room, and he said, no, we eat at the table, especially tonight. I was so irritated I almost laughed, but he set 2 plates down, put both our phones in the other room like always, and sat.